y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and this is Taya's Turning Pages. Moving on to today's video, by the title of it, you can tell that this is going to be a big ol' unhaul. I was supposed to do this before the end of the year, but of course things happened. The holiday season was upon us and I didn't have time. So why not do it now? New year, new me, fresh slate, you know. So I do have quite a few books to get through, so I am going to pull this table over real quick. Can't even see that, but I did pull this table over because we do have two piles here of books that I just need to get rid of. So let's get started. The first book that I have here is a YA novel, and it is Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. So I did get this over the summer, and I read this during the summer and gave this a 4 or a 4.25. I know, so random. 4.25 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed this. I liked how this explored not only Quinn, our main character, coming of age, but this also dealt with her trying to figure out her own race, identity, and culture and what that means to her, and also just falling in love along the way with our male protagonist named Carter here. I thought this was so cute, it was so well done, and I think Joya Goffney did a great job at exploring, again, race, identity, and culture, but making it more digestible for YA readers. So I just think that this would be a great book to donate or to put in a little local library, so that way another youth can find this and hopefully get the same joy and reading experience that I got from it. The book that I have from here is pretty random, and I got this from the thrift store, and it is called Mermaid Inn by Jenny Holiday. Y'all, why did I pick this book up? I have no idea. I think it's because it was $1. You probably can't even see that. It's probably not going to focus at all. No, it's not, and it's fine, but it was $1, and I think that's why I picked it up, because I was like, why not? And the cover was really cute, but this is definitely one of those Lifetime Hallmark romance type of movies where this woman, I think she suffers a loss and she moves back to this small town for the summer, and while she's there she reconnects with this old fling that she used to have, and the story pretty much takes off from there. So it's probably a good book, I don't know, but I just know I'm never gonna pick it up. It's been sitting on my bookshelf for like 6 months at this point, and I know it's not super long, but I just know I'm not going to read it, so we're going to give this to someone else who will. The next book that I have here is actually a poetry collection, and it is called Surviving Home: Poems by Katerina Canyon, and I was actually gifted this book by the publicist of Katerina, so I really appreciate that and I'm very grateful. I did read this. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I'm not the biggest poetry person, so that's why I'm giving this one away. This one does have a lot of heavy subject matter in here, so it does talk about race, it talks about oppression, abuse, and how for some people their home is not sanctuary, it is a place of terror and trauma. So yes, I will say look up trigger warnings for this if you are interested in this book, but I am going to be donating this, I think, versus putting it in a little library. I'm hoping that someone will just pick this up and read it first, or at least give it a glimpse, and you know, before they purchase it. This book that I have here is one that I'm not happy to donate, but I have to do it. The time has come, and it is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. So I actually got this book back in August because that's when it was a book of the month pick, and I just know I'm never going to read this. This is another one where I thought I was going to enjoy it, but I've seen so many people talk about it and talk about the trigger warnings in here, and I just know that this is not going to be for me. I really did think that this was going to be light, cute romance, and it is not that at all. This does have talks and discussions about cancer and dealing with a severe illness, and that's just not something that I really like to read about in my books because of how sad and how heavy the topic is. I know it's important, but I just can't handle it, so I am going to be giving this one away. I also heard that this book does differ from The Bride Test as well as The Kiss Quotient, and I do want to read those two because I heard those ones are a little bit lighter in comparison to this one. They still have real world and real life themes incorporated, but they're not as heavy as this one from what I heard. And I even heard that the main character, or one of the main characters in here named Kwang, is actually really different in this book compared to the other two. So I'm gonna give those two a try, but this one I just know I'm never gonna want to read, so yes, this will be given away. The next book that I have here was already mentioned in my DNF video, so I will not spend a lot of time on it, but it is The Sweetest Remedy by Jane Igaro. Y'all already know how I feel about this book, and if you don't, I will leave it linked up above or in the description box down below. But this book, didn't like it. It was a mess, and that's all I'm gonna say. The next book that I have here was also in that same video, and again, I'm not going to say too much because I already said enough in that video, and it is Normal People by Sally Rooney. Hated it. Moving on. The next book that I have here is A Love-Hate Thing by Whitney D. Grandison, and this one I actually read over the summer, and I gave this one a 4 or a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I read this right after I think I read Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, and I really enjoyed this one. I know a lot of people didn't care for it because of the, again, heavy subject matter that's in here, and a lot of people couldn't stand our female protagonist named Nandy. She's very privileged, very spoiled, and very sheltered, and not the nicest person to our other main character, Tristan, or Trice I think his name was. That's his last name. Trice I think is his last name, but that's what he went by. But anyways, yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought that there were a lot of important discussions that could be had here, and I think Whitney did a great job at showing that Black people are not a monolith and we all live different experiences from one another. And I just feel like this could be a good book or a sense of comfort for someone who has similar experiences to Trice, because Trice went through a lot of traumatic stuff, and I just feel like there are a lot of Black kids, specifically Black boys and men, that could identify with his character a lot. So for that, I enjoyed this book, and I will be giving this away, and hopefully another youth will pick it up and enjoy it. The next book that I have here is another disappointment, and gosh, I read this book, I didn't DNF it, but I'm just really sad that this turned out this way, and it is While We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory. This is the first Jasmine Guillory book that I did not really care for, and that I am unhauling, and that is really something, guys. It's really something, because I've said this multiple times. I won't say it, go into too much detail, but I am a Jasmine Guillory stan. I do stand 10 toes down in my opinion when it comes to her being a good contemporary romance author. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion. But yeah, this one was very gettable. The characters, I felt like we didn't get to know them as well as we did with the other ones in the Wedding Date series. This one follows Ben, so Theo's brother, if you know who Theo is. This is his brother, and this started off really strong. That's what really upset me, that this I thought was going to be a 5-star. When I was reading it from the beginning, I was locked in. I was really invested in Ben's profession, because him and I come from the same like field. He worked in the comms industry, I work in the comms industry, so I thought that this book was just going to be everything I needed, and it fell flat. Once we got to the middle, I just felt like it lulled, and then as we got to the end, it just didn't give me what I thought it was going to give me. It was very anticlimactic, so I'm going to give this one away. It was, like I said, 3 out of 5 stars if I didn't say that already, and yeah, I don't know. But I will be picking up more Jasmine Guillory books in the future. Like, that was just one dud for me, so you know, it happens. Not all the time can your favorite authors put out hits. It happens. It's okay. The next book that I have here is I See You by Claire McIntosh, and this one is another disappointment because I was actually so excited to read this one when I got this off of Amazon. I read the synopsis and I was hooked. So this is about a woman named Zoe Walker who commutes to her job every single day. I think she's like a secretary or something like that, but she takes the train every single day, and she's not really like aware of her surroundings. She doesn't really pay too much attention to the people on the train like most of us that are commuting. Some of us don't, you know, pay attention, and she's one of those. And one day she is flipping through the newspaper and she recognizes her photo in the classified ads section, and her photo is underneath or above this website called findtheone.com. So when Zoe is looking at this, she's almost in disbelief and she doesn't really know if it is her because the picture is very grainy, and it is one of those photos that you can tell someone was like discreetly trying to take on their phone. So she shows her family and tell her, nope, it's not her, it doesn't look anything like you, even though it really did look like her. So Zoe doesn't think anything about it, and then I'm assuming the story pretty much takes off from there. I don't know much else because I DNF'd it about 30% through because I couldn't stand the writing. I don't understand why. There were just so many tedious and irrelevant details that did not help push the plot in the slightest. I felt like we were getting way too much of just mundane things that did not matter, versus like the actual sinister and wicked plot that could be happening in this story. I felt like this was going to go in the route of maybe a trafficking type of situation, and I just felt like Claire McIntosh unfortunately was taking a little bit too long to get to the point for me, especially because this is a thriller. So I don't know, it just wasn't for me, so I will be donating this one as well. The next book that I have here is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So I'm actually getting rid of this because I hate this copy. I hate it so much. I got this from Thrift Books, and if you guys order from Thrift Books, then you know that sometimes you don't get the edition that you thought you were going to get, and that is what happened here. I don't know what this is. This is reminding me of the books that they gave you in high school, and like, why am I reading that? So I am going to get a better or a prettier edition, probably from Barnes & Noble, because I saw that they had so many cute editions of Wuthering Heights, and I feel like this is going to be another Bronte book that I'm going to like. I'm reading Jane Eyre, and I'm really enjoying it so far. That's by Charlotte Bronte, if you don't know, which is Emily Bronte's sister. But I just feel like I'm gonna like this one because this has like a toxic relationship a toxic relationship involved, and I just heard it's nothing but mess. So I think I'm gonna like this one, but I need a better copy because this one is gross. There's also dirt in it, so yeah, we're getting rid of this one. I'm so sorry. The next book that I have here is another classic, and it is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And this one pains me because I thought I was really going to pick this one up, but I just know I never will. After I heard the synopsis of this from multiple people who have read it, they have talked about how it is very confusing because you have to keep up with a plethora of characters, because this is a family slash generational type of story. So it follows a family over the span of a few years and decades. So there's a lot of characters, and I think some characters have the same name, so it's really hard to keep up with them. And then this also has magical, I think, realism or surrealism elements involved in it, and that's just not my thing. I'm not a fantasy reader. I'm not a magical elements type of gal. So again, I think that this will be better suited for someone else who is. The next book that I have here is a mess. It's a mess, but it is The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. So I found this at my local thrift store and got this for $1, which is why I picked it up. But then I went on Google and looked up the author in the book to look at Goodreads reviews, and that's when I came across the articles that AJ Finn was out here allegedly plagiarizing, and this is a book that I think was plagiarized. So I don't got time for all of that. I don't have time for the mess, so I will not be reading this, and I don't want to support if that is the case. I will leave sources and links down below just in case you're interested in reading up more on it. But there was like a whole expose on how this book I think was like fake from the jump. So yeah, also I'm just not interested in this plot anymore. Every single time I see this on my bookshelf, I just kind of look at it like, why did I even pick this up? Because this came out years ago. I don't know when, but this came out years ago, and I just don't have any interest anymore. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna read it. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna read it, so bye. The next book that I have here is Even If We Break by Marieke Nijkamp. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. And this book is really interesting because I actually got to chapter 10 in here. My bookmark is still in here and everything. Yup, right here I got to page 98, 99. Bookmark's still right here. I'm gonna take that out. But this one I thought was going to be like a 5-star for me, and as I was reading it, I just found myself getting a little bored. So this is about a group of friends who are not really friends anymore, but they decide to go to this cabin for one last hurrah before they all go off to college or to go off and work and do other things because they are in their senior year of high school. And again, they're not really friends. They had a big falling out. I don't think you find out why until later in the book, but they always go to this cabin that one of the friends' dads owns because they're pretty rich, and they play this game where they dress up in like different costumes and things like that, and something happens where it takes a sinister turn, and I think one of them ends up dead, or one of them is about to end up dead, and like the story pretty much takes off from there. Also, there's like reports of this cabin, wherever they're staying at in this cabin, like the area itself is haunted apparently. There was this man who lived up in this area who was suspected to be a notorious serial killer, and he would take his victims up there, and apparently this place is haunted by like the victims as well as the serial killer because he ended up unaliving himself later on. So yeah, there's like that whole other subplot, but unfortunately this one was just not doing it for me. I got bored. Like I said, I felt like this one was focusing way too much on the game than the actual mystery and thriller and suspense itself. And I understand that the game is a big part of this, but I felt like if we could have took off maybe like 20 to 30% that was focused on the game and put that onto the thriller and the mystery, I would have been fine with that. But I just felt like there was too much of a imbalance of the game and the actual mystery and thriller at hand. So yeah, this one is going to, again, another local thrift store or little library. Y'all are about to hear some noise because my heat is kicking on again, and I apologize, but we got 2 more books, so we're just gonna get through it. And the last 2 are by the same author, and it is Everything Everything, and The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I don't know why I got these, you guys. I picked these up off of Depop, and I wanted to give Nicola Yoon a try. I think that's why I bought these. I never read anything by her before, but I've heard nothing but great things about both of these books. But I just feel like that these are a little bit too YA for me, and y'all clearly see that I read YA. Like Ace of Spades is back here. I also have some YA books in here that I really enjoy, but for some reason these ones are giving me like that 2010, 2011, 12, 13, 14 era, and I'm just not in the mood for that anymore. I don't read those types of YA books like that unless they're romance, which like even then it depends on the type of romance. So yeah, I just don't know if I'm going to read these. These are in my maybe / uncertain pile. So if you have read these and you enjoy them, please let me know, and maybe I'll give them a try. Maybe I'll do a reading vlog. I don't know, but just let me know if you actually read these and you like them, and if you think I should give them a try before I donate them. They are kind of leaning towards the unhaul section. Alright y'all, and those are all of the books that I decided that I'm going to unhaul. Now again, let me know if you read those 2 books by Nicola Yoon and if you think I should read them because you really like them. I don't know, let me know. But either way, for the most part, these are all of the books that I'm getting rid of as of right now. New year, new me, fresh slate, clean slate, whatever. I'm just really happy that I have more space on my bookshelf now and I can get more books. I plan on going to Barnes & Noble next week, so I will take you guys along with me on that front. But yeah, can't wait to fill this up with more books that I don't need, but I also need. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. I would really appreciate it, and it really helps my channel out. And also consider following me on Bookstagram as well as Storygraph. I would love to connect with you on both of those so we can talk about more books all the time. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.